My name is Philip Hambly, and we're here at Lethytep, and that's at a little hamlet called Penadlic near Llanreth in Cornwall. And this is a sort of retirement project that's crept up on me. I'd like to say that I had a wonderful master plan to put all this together, but it didn't work like that. I just did bits and pieces. It was simply going to be first of all, I was going to put in a lake to do some fishing in my retirement. After a short while, I realised that I was also attracting a lot of wildlife here, different ducks and bird species, and I already had quite an interest in natural flora and fauna. And then just things moved on, and then I decided that perhaps we'd put a little cabin here to sit quietly. And then I developed the woods. I already had prepared a woodland path, and I thought I'd have to do another. And then we went on from that to an interest in wildflowers and the meadows themselves. And because of my feelings about modern day farming, I decided that I'd like to do what I wanted to do, and perhaps not everyone else expected me to do. And I was fortunate that I had a business that allowed me some time to spend doing, as I say, what I wanted to do. And it's just grown from there. The meadows, I was unwittingly doing everything right for the meadows beforehand by not using sprays and modern fertilisers. And over a period of time, the wildflowers have arrived in profusion until we get to now, and they tell me a paradise. And I suppose the biggest draw for most people are the orchids, and the orchids have really, really done so well. And that's a great indication that I must have been doing things, you know, what a Cornishman would call a proper manner. The water lilies were introduced, but they're so attractive in the summer. You know, people love to see the water lilies, and they're good for wildlife as well. I think you have to go into it certainly with an open mind, and you also have to think outside of the box somewhat.
Today has been just inspirational. It's made me realise how much that one can do, and it makes you think about what you're doing already. I thought that the bird boxes were fascinating. I thought the wood piles were absolutely amazing, because we've got woodland ourselves and we've just felled all this wood. Seeing how those wood piles have developed, I thought that was really extraordinary, and that's made me think actually we could keep some wood piles and maybe we change the way that the shape is and the way that he did it with the two poles on either side. I thought it was really interesting.
I think that the species-rich meadow here is absolutely fantastic. I thought that we did a good job at species-rich. Of course, we're still farming, as it were, so we want more than one cut a year. But having said that, although we do a good job, this is absolutely marvellous, isn't it? The number of different bees and flies and spiders and things that we've seen today is quite extraordinary. So I think I'm so glad that we came.
Environmental growth is fundamental, really, because we've done such a brilliant job of wrecking the environment for the last 150 or so years that we actually need to start to turn the whole machine around and rebuilding rather than carrying on the destruction. Today, my main impression really was that it completely exceeded every expectation I had. I was kind of expecting being told it was a wildflower meadow thing today. I was expecting maybe half an acre with some poppies and things in them, and all looking very pretty and lovely, and that was, you know, interesting in itself. But to actually come and see farm scale wildflower meadows is just extraordinary. I don't know where else in Cornwall you could do, or anywhere else in the southwest. Hopefully there will be some places, but this wants to be, you know, recorded and celebrated and encouraged.
I've so enjoyed coming here today, and actually coming here and seeing what Philip and Faith have created is even better than it been described, really. So, and we've seen it at the peak time. It's just all so beautiful. It's amazing how Philip has managed to tap into what people used to do with fields, and Pat mentioned that this just reminds her of the fields that she knew when she was young, and it's not something I've really experienced in my lifetime.
Part of today has been a trip down memory lane for me, because as I'm of quite advancing years now, these fields were the sort of fields that I ran through as a child. I didn't live on a farm, I lived on a council estate, but round every council estate there were always some fields years ago, and we were able to run and play, and this is what I played in, and this was everywhere, and this is what I thought fields should be like and were like, and today I've seen them again and it's joyful, absolutely brilliant.
I suppose if I could have go back and start again, I would have liked to have done it much, many years ago. I should have started this 30 or 40 years ago, but it's called hindsight. I'm also reminded of something that I read and really stuck in my mind about the poignancy of old men planting trees in whose shade they will never sit. And perhaps it's better to do these things when you're younger, but of course on a lot of these ideas and life itself, you get a better judgment of all this when you're a little bit older.